Hey, Magic fans, welcome back. This is your captain speaking here on Capnclydes MTG. Today, we're going to look at some hot cards for this weekend coming up as we get ready to play some limited pre-release. What cards are going to be great in large quantities and are at common and uncommon? Well, let's take a look. Before we get started, though, comment, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, comments down below, feed the YouTube algorithm. All that good jazz, eBay TCG player. Links in the description, Patreon, memberships, all that good jazz. But easy enough to just subscribe. It's cheap, simple, easy, free. Watching videos does the thing. So, with all that said, let's get started. So, as we get into this, let's remember one thing. What we're here to talk about are the best cards for limited. This is sealed and draft, but draft will have some changes only because, if you draft more than one card at a time, it can be really good, but relatively going to be the same skew. So as you guys go out there and play limited, keep in mind these are some of the best cards. First off, we have the entire candlestick, wrench, lead pipe, knife, rope, all the killing tools of Clue, because they all give pluses to their whatever creature they're equipped to. They can be sacrificed to draw a card. Like this one has the tap ability. This one lets you surveil. This one, opponent loses a life. Not the best, but I mean, what do you want from life? +1 in first strike, probably the best. +1, +2 in reach. Can't be blocked more than one creature. But the best thing about these is you can sack them to draw cards later in the game if something bad happens, or you just need card advantage. But these are definitely at the uncommon level some of the best things you might hope to open in your sealed pool. Next thing's going on, if you happen to get Not on My Watch, that is probably one of the best ways to deal with creatures. Not only does it have to be an attacking creature, but it is an instant and it does exile for only 2. Best thing about this, it stops graveyard shenanigans. Exiling is always better than just killing. So, probably one of the best white removal spells in the set for limited. Next we have Case of the Shattered Pack. This uncommon is insanely good. A little high there. Get it a little high. Anyway. This is a colorless card, so any deck can play it. So if you open it, you should play it. Why? Because when you search your library for a basic land card for 2, put it in your hand. It's mana fixing. It's amazing. To solve it, there are 5 or more colors among permanents you control. It may not happen, but once you do solve it at the beginning of your combat on your turn, target creature you control gets flying, double strike, vigilance, yada, yada, yada. Now, the thing is, if you don't solve this, 2 mana land fetch for every color is just fine. Also, with that said, right here where it says if unsolved, solve at the beginning of your end step. At the beginning of your end step, if your case has not been solved, it triggers to see if you have the condition to solve it. So, I know I've been talking for a while and I forgot to clarify that. But anyway, so this is probably one of the best cards in limited, period, because it's mana fixing for everything. Next we have Push Pull. Great 3 mana card. If you're in black, it's an amazing card if you're in black. Can be used in white only to destroy target tapped creature. That's also good. It can be used in black for the same thing. If you're playing black or red, put up to 2 target creature cards from a single graveyard onto the battlefield for 6 under your control. They gain haste until end of turn. Sacrifice them at the beginning of the next end step. Great way to jerk cards out of the graveyard for a killing blow or just some serious damage from entering the battlefield plus swinging effects. Both are sorceries, unfortunately, but this spans 3 different colors. It can be a white-black deck, a black-red deck. It could even be a red-white deck. Like, the only thing this thing isn't good in is blue. Like, this is insanely good. Next, we have Torch the Witness. So, red and X. This thing deals twice X damage to a creature. If excess damage was dealt this way, you get to investigate. So, for 2 mana, a red and 1, this does 2 damage. For 3 mana, a red and 2, it does 4. So it will kill anything and probably let you investigate, which means you get to draw a card. which is also really sweet from a damage spell. Yes, it's a sorcery. Yes, it's only on creatures. But still, a powerful removal spell for any creature on the battlefield. Next, we have the Parameter Enforcer, white and 1 for this 1/1 flying lifelink, which already makes it halfway decent. But whenever another detective enters the battlefield under your control, and whenever the detective you control is turned face up, he gets +1/+1 to end a turn. Just the ability to be a flying lifelinker for 2 is pretty good because you can stack some enchantments and stuff on him, or put a rope or a wrench on him or whatever. But the ability for him to get pumped is just amazing. This guy is going to be good. Also, if you're playing a detective deck, this guy is going to get big quick. Every time you play a detective, he gets +1/+1 in a turn. So, now we're going to go into some of the best commons. These are the commons that will play the best single or as in multiples in the set. We have Slime Against Humanity. Green and 2 sorcery. Create a 0/0 green ooze creature token with trample. And you get to put X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is 2 plus total number of cards you own in exile and in your graveyard that are oozes or are named Slime. So the first one you cast for 3 as a sorcery is going to be a 2/2 with trample. Nothing so hot there. The next one you cast is going to be a 3/3. And the next one's going to be a 4/4. So if you get multiples of these in green, you can really have some powerful creatures with counters. And they're just good. Yeah, this card is great. Next we have, because also too, don't forget, even if they get exiled out of your graveyard from some effect or you using evidence, it counts them in exile. So yeah, anyway, moving on. Unscrupulous Agent. So it's just a 1/1, but for a black and 1, when it enters the battlefield, the opponent exiles a card from their hand. The card effects like this are always good in limited. Forcing your opponent to exile a card while you get to play a 1/1 is amazing. Plus, it's a detective. It plays well with white-black detectives. It's a really good card. It's a really bad late game, but at the end of the day, if you can lay this while they have a card in hand, no matter what cards you get, it's going to be a good card. Next, we have Sanguine Survivor. This bad boy, or girl, thing, Anyway, Vampire Cleric, black, white, and 1 for a 2/1 flying lifelink. That is already amazing. Now, if you turn it face up, because it does have disguise, another target creature you control gains lifelink till end of turn. So you can make it for 3 as a 2/2 with ward, so you can give something lifelink later if you really need to. But to be honest with you, a 3 mana 2/1 flying lifelinker is just the bomb. It's just good enough. And if you have some combat tricks to keep it alive or give it death touch or whatever, this can be a powerhouse card. Next we have Rakesh Scoundrel, green, black, and 2 for a 3/3 with death touch. Already really good. Now, whenever it enters the battlefield or is turned face up, target creature gains indestructible until end of turn. So it doesn't have flash, so there's no point in doing this unless you plan on swinging and you don't care if it's blocked. But if you put it face down and flip it up for 6, you can make this card, because it says target creature, you can make this card indestructible. It has death touch. It will kill whatever it blocks. This is a powerful card and a powerful combo card. So watch out for this thing, because if it was me, I'd play it face down. But sometimes for 4, a face-up 3/3 death toucher, if you can give it first strike or a big butt, it's just good enough. Next, we have Crowd-Controlled Warden, white, green, and 3 for this 4/4. When it enters the battlefield or is turned face up, put X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the number of creatures you control. There is no reason to put this face down and then flip it face up unless you have nothing better to do with your mana. Because when it enters the battlefield, it's going to get the same effect. And the fact that it only triggers other creatures, at worst, it's a 4/4 for 5. That's fine. At best, man, it could be a 5/5, a 6/6, a 7/7, or God knows how big. Next, we have good old Shock. And it's shocking that this is a good card. I'm joking. Yeah, shock, direct damage, any target. Clearly a good card. No need to go into this one. Next, we have Tarpier Panther, 2 green and 4 for a 6/5 with trample. Great card, 6 mana, 6/5 trample. Pretty good for the 6 slot. The cool thing about this, basic land cycling. This will let you do mana fixing in green for any other color you have. It's not forest cycling, it's land cycling. And if you're playing green-black and with ways to get stuff out of your graveyard, you want to discard this on turn 2, get the extra land, so for 5 mana you can pull it out of your graveyard and put it into play. So, yeah. But mainly, good creature on curve, great creature for land cycling on turn 2. Next we have Galvanize, a red and 1, deals 3 damage to target creature. It's the best removal, it's an instant. If you've drawn 2 or more cards, it does 5 instead. Probably not going to happen, can happen. But 3 mana removal spell at instant speed to creatures, what more do you want? Next we have Slice from the Shadows, black and X. It can't be countered, and target creature gets -X in their turn. This is a fireball for creatures that gets around indestructible. It gets around anything else that would keep the creature alive. So this is amazing. It can't be countered. So yeah, and notice it says this includes the ward ability. So if you target a warded creature with this, you don't have to pay the ward cost because this spell can't be countered. Amazing removal, especially when everything's going to be a face-down card with ward 2. Next we have good old Murder, because it's Murder at Karlov mana, so everybody should need to get some Murder on, right? Still, instant destroy target creature, probably one of the best removal spells there is. Make your move. Great white card. It's an instant, white and 2. It gets artifact or enchantment. Normally reserved for disenchant, but for the 1 extra mana, you also get the ability to destroy target creature power 4 or greater. And there are a lot of those in the set. So this is a great multi-purpose card, not just for removal, but also for artifacts and enchantment. And if you have one, you definitely should be playing it. Next we have the Cold Case Cracker. There's several cards like this. There's a green one as well, that for 4 mana, you get a 3/3 creature that lets you investigate. The thing about this one, it has flying for 4 mana. 4 mana 3/3 flyers are already amazing because flying's hard to deal with. But it also gives you a clue so you can draw a card later. Like, this is probably the best common blue has to offer. We have the Novice Inspector. 1 white for a 1/2. When it enters the battlefield, investigate. Gee, it's just like Thraben Inspector, except it's not. So, we know how good that card was, so, yeah, play it. Moving on. So, well, looks like we get to end on the prettier Thraben Inspector. Well, I wouldn't say prettier, but he's definitely got a little... He's dressed up better. I won't say he's got better style. Thraben Inspector's got some style on him. But anyway, with all that said, guys, thanks a lot for watching. Enjoy your weekend of Sealed. And stay tuned. We're going to go through the best of the cards for the other formats coming from Karlov Manor so that you can know what you should be trading for this Sealed weekend with friends. Until next time, be kind. And as always, hope to see you across from the game table. I'm getting on my Novice Thraben Inspector thing. I got to fuck that. Whatever. Goodbye.